further ado, I'm going to turn over the session to our leadership. Our general manager, Cleon Cauley, will be speaking, followed by the county executive, Marcus Henry.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Stormwater Management Seminar. As Mike said, I'm Cleon Cauley. I'm the General Manager for Public Works here in Newcastle County. Luck would have it that I would be given the opportunity to welcome you all on a beautiful, stormy morning here in Newcastle County. As I drove in today, the raindrops beating against my windshield, it was a vivid reminder of why we do what we do, why your participation in this seminar is so important, and why, after 18 years, seminars like this are still so relevant. Thank you to my friend and colleague, Mike Harris, for his and his team's leadership in making this possible, as well as all the presenters today, including my colleagues from Public Works and our partners from DNREC and DelDOT. You're all so appreciated. Without further ado, I'll pass the mic. I believe I have the pleasure of passing the mic to our county executive for Newcastle County, Marcus Henry, for some additional opening remarks. Marcus.
Can you guys see me okay? I might be having technical difficulties. Hold on.
We can hear you, but I don't think we can see you yet.
Well, I look good today, so that's okay. Just take my word for it. Good morning, everyone. Oh, wait, here we go. Okay. Video starting here.
Yep, there you go.
You see me now?
There
okay.
you go.
Hey,
there you go.
I have a sweater on too. This is great.
You do look good today.
Good morning, everyone. I see a lot of former friends and colleagues from other agencies, such as DNREC, DelDOT. Thank you. Thank you for your participation on this webinar. This is the 18th year, and that just shows a lot longevity between our partnership in dealing with this serious issue. But before I really begin, I really want to thank Cleon Cauley and his leadership over the last 10 months, running a critical department for Newcastle County, that's Public Works. Thank you, Cleon. Thank you to your leadership team for the exemplary work you've done over the last 10 months. I'm just here to thank everybody for your diligence in helping this important issue for Newcastle County. I hope you have a great conversation today, and we appreciate our partnership. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back to Cleon.
And I'm turning it back to Mike.
All right, go back to Mike. Thank you.
And I have no need to turn it back
Thank
to
you.
So thank you very much, County Executive and our GM. I believe we're going to start the session today with Ellie Mortazavi giving her presentation.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ellie Mortazavi. I'm Environmental Program Manager at 3. I just want to thank everyone to join us for today's seminar during this stormy day, rainy day. And just want to touch up on some of the importance of the stormwater management facilities, as well as the whole stormwater world. So what is the problem out there? Why we do what we do? You definitely these days, by the growing communities, as well as the unpredictable weather patterns, we see more flooding. We see local road closures because of high water elevation. The intense storms, they bring lots of rain, lots of water in such a short time. We see beach closure, shoreline closures. We also hear about not eating fish in some of our waterways because they are contaminated. Some of the beaches are polluted. And also, more importantly, about poor quality of our drinking water and impaired watersheds. So definitely we have to make sure that not only we can control the amount of the rain that we get during these intense rainstorms, but also we have to improve the quality of our water as well as our waterways. So what is the goal? Restore our waterways to swimmable, fishable, and drinkable condition. As you can see in this picture, that majority of watersheds in state of Delaware are impaired. some less, some more. And this is definitely our most important goal, to make sure that that red mark and the orange color, they are going to be all less the intense color, and make sure that hopefully someday they are going to be all in good white condition, and as well as prevent further flooding and drainage issues. Not only that's our goal, but at the same time, we have our obligations under state regulations as well as the federal regulations. Newcastle County, we are a delegated agency by DNREC to administer Delaware sediment and stormwater regulations, such as reviewing the plans, construction plan, design plans, as well as the inspections and post-construction inspections for the stormwater management facilities. Also, at the same time, we are obligated under federal rule under the NPDES permit, which was issued, the last one was issued to us back in 2013, that we are principal permittee with DelDOT, as well as 5 other co-permittees, which are Bellefonte, Ellesmere, Newport, Delaware City, and Newcastle. So the NPDES program talks, there are 8 measures that we have to make sure that we implement, and we are trying to make sure that they are all effective. Public education, illicit discharge, stormwater during construction, which are all Department of Land Use, post-construction, stormwater inspection and maintenance, which is why we are here today. During this seminar, we also do have good housekeeping for county facilities, as well as industrial stormwater watershed priority list. We do we have to do different projects in different watershed to improve the water quality, as well as mapping. So in closing, I just want to thank everyone, not only to be here, but also during previous years helping us to reach our goal. This is a partnership between all of us. We need your help to meet our water quality and quantity goals in state of Delaware, in Newcastle County. Fish advisories and swimming areas closure and flooding, there are not norm. There are the problem that we are facing, and we're trying to, by doing what we do, to improve the quality and quantity of our waterways in Newcastle County. Thank you again for joining us. And now I'm going to turn it over to our Environmental Program Manager 1, Bernadette, who's going to talk about some of the details of this program.
Good morning, everyone. Ellie has politely shared her computer since I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties. So my name is Bernadette. I am the Environmental Program Manager for the Stormwater Department for Newcastle County. I'm first want to introduce all of our team. So our Program Division Manager is Mike Harris, who you met, who's introduced everyone, as well as Ellie Mortazavi. We have 3 environmental program managers. They are Carolyn McKnighty, myself, and Nate Carey, who deals specifically in drainage. Our acting staff engineer is Julie Petrowsky. We have 3 full-time inspectors who are all certified construction reviewed. Julie is doing double duty. She's a full-time inspector as well. Bill Jones, Brian Allen, and we have an intern, Jean Zaru, so he's helping us out. And also we have our confidential assistant, Becky Coleman. I'm just going to briefly go over our process, and once The Department of Land Use performs and plans review and approves any designs for the stormwater. Construction is completed and the as-built plan is approved by the Department of Land Use. Then the as-bills do come to us here in the Stormwater Department. And then our department does go out and do a final inspection to make everything is per plan. Then these stormwater facilities are added to the county's BMP inventory. So our 2025 inventory, the total number of BMPs for 2025 has been up to almost close to 3,000. We have 2,955. This is a mixture of private BMPs, such as 981 residential and 1,074 commercial industrial sites. Unlike residential BMPs are exempt and not included in our inventory. All BMPs built pre-1991 are also included in our inventory. On an average of between 80 to 100 best management practices are added to our inventory every year. So we will definitely be over 3,000 facilities for 2026. So once the inspectors go out and complete the inspections, letters and inspection reports are sent by certified mail or email to the owner or the responsible party with a timeline for performing necessary maintenance. The owner's responsible party should complete all items noted on the inspection report. Questions about your specific inspection are directed to the inspectors in the Department of Public Works Stormwater Management. Julie will go over everything more specifically, but each inspection has the inspector's signature and contact information. Once you receive the report, we highly suggest and recommend to obtain a copy of the operation and maintenance plan for the stormwater management facility at your site if available. We understand a lot of these facilities are older and sometimes we cannot find the plans, but we'll do our best for you. Also obtain an as-built plan as well as a landscaping plan. And then we recommend to hire a professional contractor who's familiar with this type of work. Difficult BMPs for inspections, such as inlet inserts, urban sand filters, rain tanks, storm tanks, rain roofs, are difficult to be thoroughly inspected by our inspectors because of limited access. Therefore, as this facility's owner, it's their responsibility to have the facility inspected and maintained in accordance with plan, ensuring that it functions per design. We do have a contractors list. We can supply a list of contractors who have done work on similar stormwater facilities. We cannot recommend any specific contractor to you, but we would recommend obtaining 3 to 5 estimates since they do vary in price and experience from the list we supply. Oftentimes for sites that are older, we have major repairs that are needed to be done. An example of a comment for a major repair, it says the inspection report will notify you if major repairs are needed as directed. It will state something similar to this: repair, replace the deteriorated inlet outlet pipe and flared end section. TV, investigate the length of the pipe to determine the extent of the deterioration. Submit the footage report to Newcastle County for review prior to repairing the pipe. Other examples of major repairs include major sediment removal or changing of any landscape incorporated in the facilities. Before performing any major repairs to the existing stormwater management facility at your site, you need to please consult with the Newcastle County Department of Public Works for the review and approve process. It must be approved before any work can start. Plans must be reviewed and approved by Newcastle County Department of Public Works before you start the project with a hired professional contractor and/or outside engineer. We're always here for you. Call or email us. If you have any questions, we're here to help. If you have any small or large questions, please contact us. Keep in communication is key. And with that, I thank you. And then we're going to hand you over to Sara from DelDOT. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Ellie mentioned a lot of partners that are involved in promoting clean stormwater, and DelDOT is happy to be a partner with Newcastle County on our permit. So I'm here to go over some information on DelDOT's stormwater permit, but more kind of taking a step back and just talking about DelDOT globally. So here we go. Hopefully you can now see my screen, and let's begin. There we go. All right. So hopefully that woke you up a little bit. So who you're gonna call Wally, DelDOT's mascot. He's gonna help me walk you through who to call within DelDOT. And again, I'm Sara Esposito, the program manager for the NPDES program. All right, so big chart. Wally's gonna walk us through it. Within DelDOT, we have a couple of different divisions. We're gonna start in our maintenance and operations division and talk about our North District and Canal District that help maintain Newcastle County. There's two other districts, Central and South, that handle the southern part of the state, but we'll focus on North and Canal. And then also part of M&O is our statewide support services section. And within that, we have the NPDES/Stormwater program, which is my program, as well as the Community Transportation Fund. We'll touch on those, as well as our business management section for the snow reimbursable program. And then we'll switch to other divisions, including our DOTS division, which is the Division of Transportation Solutions, and our Community Relations section. So starting off with our Division of Maintenance and Operations, North District, no shocker there that they handle our northern section of Newcastle County, hence North District. They are broken up into two roadway areas. So our Area 11 or Kaimensi maintenance area handles all the snow plowing and grass mowing, pothole repair, etc., for all the roadways shaded in that light purple color. And our Tally maintenance area, Area 12, handles all the roadways within that gray shaded area. Then North District has a couple specialty maintenance yards as well that handle various, other aspects. We have a Area 13 that does special projects. Our Area 14 handles all the expressways, 95 predominantly, and if a car breaks down on 95, they're out there patrolling and there for assistance. And then Area 15 is our building and bridges section for North District. So contact information and locations for all those area yards are presented here. You can take pictures, or my presentation will also, well, this recording is available after, so you can always come back to it. There we go. And then moving down to southern Newcastle County is our Canal District. Similar to north, they're broken up into two roadway sections. Our Middletown maintenance area, Area 9, handles that area in light green, and Bear, Area 10, handles that area in orange. And then they also have special projects, building bridges and expressways areas. The expressways group for Canal handles Route 1 and US 301. And there's the locations and phone numbers for all those yards. All right, so Wally's going to give us our public service announcement number 1. The maintenance yards are not DMVs or permitting offices. I gave you the addresses and the phone numbers, but in actuality, there's really no need for you to visit these locations, or really to call them. And I'll at the very end, I'll be giving you the best number to call to report a problem. And public's announcement number 2, talking about reporting a problem. One great tool to use is to download DelDOT's app from your app store. It does a whole bunch of different things, and 2 of them are highlighted here. The report an issue, if you see a pothole, if you see trash, if you see something, along the roadway that needs attention, you can report that problem through the app. And also it has a snow tracker, so you can see if plows are in your area when we have snow, which should be soon. All right, so getting back to things. I mentioned that our maintenance yards do not handle any permitting, but this is one exception. Our Canal District headquarters handles entrance permit approvals and coordination. So if you need to change your entrance location, add a new entrance location, that's all handled through our Public Works office. And their information is shown there. Wally's here to remind you that that location services all of Newcastle County. So unlike our area yards that are broken into North and Canal, this location handles all of the whole county. Switching gears a little bit, sticking within M&O, we have the NPDES program, which is the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. Basically the counterparts to Mike and Ellie and everyone else's, the Newcastle County group that's here today. We maintain DelDOT stormwater ponds and all of our storm drain inlets and pipes. And that's my program. Our contact information is there, or you could also reach out to me and I'll have that information at the end. Public service announcement number 3 from Wally. Not all storm drain infrastructure is DelDOT's. So DelDOT only maintains storm drain infrastructure that carries roadway runoff to the point of discharge to the end of the closed drainage system. We do not maintain infrastructure upstream of the road, such as backyard runoff that did not originate off another roadway. We do not maintain ditches or streams within subdivisions, as these are downstream of that closed drainage system. And we also do not maintain stormwater ponds within subdivisions, because again, that's at the end of the closed drainage system, and Newcastle County helps oversee those, and you'll be getting a lot more information on that today. Caveat to all that is, unless there's a specific agreement that states otherwise, we do have some shared ponds within subdivisions that treat both DelDOT water and the subdivision water. They're few and far between, but they do exist. So here's a map or a diagram to help explain some of that. If we're looking at this subdivision here, DelDOT would maintain, DelDOT maintains subdivision roads, so DelDOT would maintain the storm drain infrastructure that's in the roadway, Natalie Drive, plus all the other roadways in the community. We would also maintain downstream of the roadway to the point of discharge, as long as that pipe is in a drainage easement and was, part of the original subdivision design. But we would not maintain the open ditch downstream of that discharge. And likewise, we would not maintain upstream of the roadway since those back a lot areas do not carry any roadway runoff. And that's true even if that infrastructure was there at the time of the initial subdivision recordation, we would still not maintain that infrastructure because it does not have any roadway runoff associated with it. So some communities, such as the one I just showed, do have some of those private storm drain infrastructure within their communities that DelDOT would not maintain. And the Newcastle Conservation District may be a good avenue to request any support they might need if things are failing with that system. And their contact information is there. All right, back at it. Sticking with the NPDES program, my program, we also help make sure that our water is clean. We check the end of our pipes regularly to make sure that there's no pollution. And then we also educate the public to not dump stuff down the storm drain. And if you see something, you can report it and we'll go out and investigate. So we provide this hotline, 302-STOP-IT, and the website 302stopit.org in conjunction with Newcastle County, so that if you see something, you have an avenue to report it and we'll go out and investigate. If it's not either us or the county's responsibility, we'll help figure out who's, like maybe it's a municipalities, and we'll coordinate with that municipality as well. Also within our M&O division is our Community Transportation Fund, or CTF. That's for legislative funded projects within DelDOT subdivisions. We have a new person in charge of that program, Linda Eckert. It used to be Jerry Larson for many years. So if you've previously worked with Jerry, it would now be Linda. Basically, your project has to get approved by your senator or representative for funding. And then once it's been an approved location, then DelDOT helps coordinate the contractor to make those repairs. And just a reminder from Wally, you must contact your senator or representative first with the initial request. We can't, DelDOT ourselves can't add a location to the list. We just help coordinate it afterwards. And then we also have our snow reimbursal program. That's if you or anyone that has a plow and they would like to help maintain subdivision roads during snowstorms, we have a plow reimbursement program that's headed by Kelly Wilson, and her contact information is on there. And Wally says he ain't afraid of no plow. Switching gears out of M&O and into our Division of Transportation Solutions. These are the folks that design all of our roadway design projects and bridge projects, both design them and then oversee the construction of those projects. And because DelDOT maintains a lot of roadways, about 90% of all the state roadways are DelDOT maintained roadways, we have a lot of projects going on. So you can check out this website, our DelDOT projects portal website that shows locations and color codes, the projects based on whether they're in design or under construction or complete. And you can also do the same thing with that DelDOT app. So the app that I showed earlier, there was a icon for projects and it would pull up a similar looking map. And you can click on one of those projects and bring up a project webpage that gives more information about the projects, including the plans. And there's a lot of information on the plans. There's usually also public workshop information that shows it more conceptually, kind of toned down a little bit, so it's not quite as in-depth as these black and white engineered plans show. And then we also have our Division of Community Relations that helps educate and communicate with the public. Their email address is located there, dotpublic@delaware.gov. They also help sponsor our Adopt a Highway program, which is a great program. And they also are our social media outlet and try to provide both educational and some lighthearted posts, including our message boards. We try to be informative, but also keep it lighthearted, which I'm sure some of you have seen some of our awesome message boards, including one in the past that said who you're going to call and provided information. Which that best number to call is our Transportation Management Center, or TMC. It's basically our dispatch 24/7 hotline that's staffed to receive any roadway issues, conditions, and dispatch that to the appropriate person or group to handle. So if you're going to store any phone number in your phone, I would recommend this 302-659-4600 or #77. Does the same thing. That sends you to that 24/7 hotline, and you can report a problem and they'll dispatch it. Now that's more for kind of specific problems. If you have a more of an overarching concern, like a new development that's being proposed, they're not, the appropriate folks for that. That would be more community relations team. But specific, roadway concerns, this TMC is the best avenue, and then they'll contact those maintenance areas. So you don't have to remember, oh, I live in the Middletown maintenance area, so I should contact the Middletown yard. You can just call this number and they'll know which area yard to reach out to. So in summary, who are you going to call? TMC. And again, those phone numbers are there. And what you're going to use? The DelDOT app. And then just real quick, wait, there's more. Just to put a couple plugs in for our Delaware Livable Lawns program that us in the county help sponsor. You can get a free soil test kit to test your soil and know whether you need fertilizer and the amount of fertilizer you might need. Or you can also find out about a certified livable lawns company that can come out and do the soil test for you, and then also provide your lawn maintenance needs. So you can check out the Delaware Livable Lawns website to either go the DIY route and get your free soil test kit and use those recommendations to fertilize your lawn yourself, or you can find a certified commercial business that would handle that for you. And lots of literature on the website. Most of it boils down to doing that soil test in the spring and then fertilize based on those recommendations in the fall. Fall is really the best time to put fertilizer down. We're a little late now, so now wouldn't be a good time. The plant system is dormant. But in the fall, early fall, the plant is sending all its nutrients down to its roots, and that makes a healthier plant by fertilizing them. And then lastly, dog waste is a big problem throughout the state. We have a lot more dogs than nature would normally support. So that's a lot of extra bacteria that can get flushed into our waterways. So we recommend picking up the poop and then also throwing those poop bags away afterwards, because we find a lot of bag poop in our storm drain networks, which is not good. But if you have a community that has a community dog waste station, we have dog bags that we can provide a free roll for each station that you might have in your community. So you can email npdes@delaware.gov or me directly, and we will get you those rolls. And that's it. So thank you. And there's my contact information. And I appreciate having the opportunity to speak to you all. Thank you. And next we have Julie Petrowsky from Newcastle County to continue on talking about their stormwater program.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay. Okay, good morning. My name is Julie Petrowsky. I am the acting staff engineer for our stormwater department. I supervise the inspections of our stormwater management facilities. And we're gonna go over our annual inspection process. When we say stormwater facilities, we're referring to our ponds and best management practices, or BMPs. These areas are designed to manage the extra stormwater runoff we create when we develop natural land. We will get into the different types of stormwater facilities a little later in this presentation, but these facilities are designed to manage the volume of water, but also help to filter out pollutants. Our stormwater management facilities are noted on our GIS map. Our facilities are grouped together by location, and each year our stormwater inspectors are assigned to inspect facilities within a certain group or area. If you ever have trouble locating the facilities at your site, please feel free to reach out to us, and we can email you a map screenshot showing where everything's located. The approved plans and documents are scanned and uploaded into an online database, and hard copies are filed as well. The as-built plans and landscape plans for your stormwater facility will show specific design details and give maintenance instructions telling you how the facilities are required to be maintained. So it is very important that you have a copy of these plans and that you share them with your hired contractor so they understand exactly what needs to be done. If you can't locate the approved plans for your site, please feel free to reach out to us and we can email you a copy upon completion of a FOIA request form. The as-built plan shows the design details and gives instructions on how the facility should be maintained. There's usually a section on the as-built plan noted as the operation and maintenance plan that tells you what kind of maintenance should be performed and how often. Per Newcastle County Code, all stormwater facilities must be maintained according to the plans, and you cannot make any changes or alterations to the facility because they're supposed to match the approved design plans. So if you want to make any changes at all, you would need to hire a professional engineer to red mark the existing as-built plan and then submit that to my office for review. If we do approve the red mark plan, then you would be permitted to proceed with those changes, but you must receive our approval first. The landscape plan shows any plants that are required to be in place. you will see a plan view of the facility with symbols or abbreviations, and then there will be a plant key, which tells you what those symbols or abbreviations stand for. So in this example, you see on the right side of the facility, there are 10 VD. And when we look over the plant key, we see that VD stands for Viburnum dentatum, or arrowwood shrubs. So that is how you use the landscape plan to identify what plants should be installed and where. And unfortunately, again, per Newcastle County Code, all plantings must be installed as shown on the approved plan, so no substitutions or changes are permitted. If you do need to make any substitutions or changes, you would need to hire a registered landscape architect to red mark that landscape plan and submit that to my office for review and approval prior to making the changes. We use a program called CityWorks for our asset management software. Through CityWorks, each facility in our inventory and each inspection report that's generated for the facilities are tracked. So each facility is assigned a unique 5-digit ID number. All ponds begin with the number 1 and all BMPs begin with the number 2. We inspect all our stormwater facilities at least once per year, and we follow up by sending an annual inspection report based on that inspection to the site's owner. Sometimes we will send a courtesy copy to the site tenant if there's a different tenant versus owner, but ultimately the maintenance is the responsibility of the owner of the site. So if you have a maintenance agreement with a tenant or another party, it is up to the owner to make sure that everything's followed up on. On the first page of your annual inspection report that you will receive, we list the location and unit ID of the facility. And in the bottom paragraph there, we list the inspector's contact information, and we ask that you follow up by emailing before and after photos of the completed work once that work is completed. On the first page of the report, we again identify the facility, we list a summary of the inspection results, and we will list the number of days you have to comply. We again list the inspector's contact information below our signature, and we again ask that you follow up by emailing photos to show that the deficiencies have been corrected. And as long as we can see from those photos that the work has been completed, then we can mark you compliant based on that. So that is the fastest way to get you back into compliance. If you're not able to send the photos, please reach out to us and request a reinspection, and we can reinspect the next time we're in that area. If you're unable to complete the work within the listed days to comply, that's okay. It's usually not a problem to grant an extension as long as you reach out and ask for one. But the communication is the important part there. If we don't hear from you and we go back out to reinspect and find that no work has been done, that's when our violation tracking process starts. So please make sure to reach out to the inspector listed on your report and keep us in the loop. The inspection results go over everything we look at during our inspections. This should be used as a checklist to make sure that everything is followed up on. If any maintenance needs to be completed, we will describe what needs to be done in the comment section. So it's very important that you give a copy of the inspection results to your hired contractors because they explain exactly what needs to be done. Also, just want to confirm that only Newcastle County can confirm compliance. That decision is not up to your contractor or to any other party. You must receive that confirmation from us. We do take photos during our annual inspections to document the results. Unfortunately, it's not possible to send photos with every report that goes out. But if you'd like to see the photos, if you think that would be helpful to help you identify the items that the report is referring to, please feel free to reach out to the inspector noted on your report, and we can email them to you at that time. If we don't hear from you after the annual inspection and we determine that the routine maintenance is not being completed, that's when our violation tracking process starts. So the first step is to send a warning to let you know that if you don't complete the necessary maintenance, that a notice of violation will be issued. If the maintenance still isn't completed after that warning, then we will issue the notice of violation. That document goes over the specific maintenance responsibilities that are being violated according to Newcastle County Code, Chapter 12, Section 6. So in other words, not completing the maintenance according to Newcastle County standards is a direct code violation, and that is what the notice of violation document will go over. If the maintenance still is not completed after that notice of violation is issued, then a rule to show cause hearing will be scheduled. That is an online meeting with our land use administrator where my department, Public Works, and the property owner each have the opportunity to plead our cases. There is usually a $300 fee for that hearing. I also want to mention that once the rule to show cause hearing is scheduled, a hold will be put on the property. So that means no permits will be issued while that hold is in effect. After the rule to show cause hearing, you will be sent directives to complete and a number of days to comply with those directives. And if the work is still not completed after that, then we will request additional penalties per violation per day. I added a link to Newcastle County's Code of Ordinances at the bottom of the slide. But if you're interested in looking into that further, you could also just Google Newcastle County, Delaware Code of Ordinances, and it should be the first website that pops up. Getting into our actual inspections. During our annual inspections, we go over our checklist and each line item that is noted on the inspection reports. The first thing we look for is access. There should be a 10-foot wide access path maintained to and around the facility and each structural component at all times. That way we can access everything, see what we need to see in order to complete thorough inspections. We also assess the condition of each structures. We look for signs of rusting or corrosion, any cracks or spalling, or any evidence that the structures may be in failure. And we will recommend repair as necessary. If your facility does require repairs, please reach out to us ahead of time and submit those repair proposals to us to get our approval prior to completing the repairs, because we need to make sure that what you're proposing is acceptable by Newcastle County standards and that it matches the approved design. We would really hate to tell you that the repairs are not acceptable and that you have to do it over. That is not a fun conversation for you or for us. So please be sure to reach out ahead of time and make sure that you get that approval from us prior to completing repairs. The inlet structures are where water enters into the stormwater facility. They can be pipes or depressions or cuts in the curb. A lot of the time, there will be a riprap lined forebay or a rock lined apron area. That area is designed to collect sediment and debris as it washes in with the stormwater and to slow down the flow of water and prevent erosion. And those areas just need to be cleaned out during routine maintenance. The outlet is where the water exits out of the facility, so inlet in, outlet out. The outlet structure, it can be a variety of different types of pipes or risers. A lot of the time, there will be a trash rack on the outlet. The term trash rack refers to a device like a type of bar or grate usually that's designed to prevent debris from washing into the structure. So you can see in this example, the outlet structure in this photo, there are quite a few trash racks on there. So when we note to remove the minor debris from the trash racks, this is what we're referring to. The low flow structure is a device on or connecting to the outlet structure where the lowest level of stormwater flows out of the facility. It can be an orifice or an elbow fitting or a weir. These devices do need to be cleaned out on a routine basis. If the water level in your pond tends to be high for an extended period of time, then most likely the low flow is blocked, and you should have your contractor look into that to make sure they free out that blockage. If the low flow does remain blocked for an extended period of time, that can put extra stress on the structure, and that can sometimes lead to structural failure. So this is an important item that you need to make sure your contractors are following up on. The low flow channel, just as it sounds, is a channel that carries the lowest level of stormwater directly to the outlet structure. Low flow channels are usually lined with concrete or stone, but sometimes they can be more natural and grassed, like an inline pond, which resembles a small creek or stream. The low flow channels just need to have minor sediment, weeds, and debris removed from them on a regular basis to prevent blockages and encourage a positive flow. The outfall structure, we mentioned that inlets carry water in and outlets, or where the water exits out. The outfall is the final discharge point of the facility or the area in which your facility drains to. And like the other structures, these areas just need to have access maintained to them and have minor sediment, weeds, and debris removed from them on a regular basis. An emergency spillway is a low area on the side slope of your facility. They're designed so that if we have a severe storm and your stormwater facility completely fills up and tops over the outlet structure, that excess stormwater will flow over through that low area. Sometimes they're lined with rocks or riprap, as you see in the photo on the right. Sometimes they're just grassed, as in the photo on the left. During our inspections, we will check for signs of erosion or bare areas, and we will note to remove minor sediment, weeds, and debris as necessary. If you have an underdrain system in your facility, there will be a small pipe that runs horizontally below the surface. These systems help to either infiltrate stormwater into the ground, or sometimes they will drain to an outfall area. There will be monitoring wells or observation ports. That's the plastic stick-up pipes that we use to look into the underdrain system to make sure that it's functioning properly. So we will open the caps to those plastic pipes and look inside. Sometimes we will insert a measuring stick to determine if there's standing water or sediment building up inside. And if there is, then the facilities may need to be flushed or cleaned out at that time to eliminate any blockages. Mowers, be careful. If you do have monitoring wells at your facility, especially if it's in a grassed area like within a bioswale, please make sure your mowers are aware of their locations and that they're careful to not crash into them and break them while mowing. Unfortunately, it's a problem that we see pretty often. If your mowers do break the monitoring wells at your site, that the owner will be responsible to have them repaired or replaced. So please make sure you hire a competent contractor and provide them with copies of the approved plans so that they can see where these structures are located. We look for signs of animal burrows. Any holes or burrows we will note to fill in and compact and remove any resulting sediment and stabilize the area. I know some animals can be persistent, and repairing the burrows can be a continuous battle. But it is an important part of maintenance to make sure that the facilities are in good condition and that they function as designed. We look for bare areas or tire tracks. We will note to seed, mat, and stabilize those areas as necessary. The bare areas can lead to bigger issues such as erosion, so it is important to address them as they come up. It's also a good idea to ask your mowers to refrain from mowing when the ground is very saturated. That can help prevent the tire tracks. Also to point out in the photo on the right, the bare areas in that bioswale were caused by large clumps of grass clippings that were left behind, and that caused the grass beneath to die. So that's something else we need to be mindful of. The large clumps of clippings should not be left behind in the stormwater facilities because that can happen. We look for signs of erosion. Some erosion can simply be caused by stormwater runoff just running over the ground. Sometimes when we have a lot of rain, that can happen and it just needs to be repaired as it happens. Sometimes erosion can point to bigger issues such as structural failure, and we may need to look into that further and recommend repairs. I want to take a moment to emphasize that plastic netting is no longer permitted in the state of Delaware to be used for stabilization. It's a hazard to wildlife. Birds and snakes and other wildlife frequently get caught in it. And if you do have it used on your site, you will be required to have it removed and done over with the appropriate biodegradable matting. All contractors should be aware of this requirement, but unfortunately, we still see it being used a lot. So please make sure that your contractors are using the correct stuff. One of the most common things that you'll see noted in your inspection reports is sediment removal. It's normal for sediment to wash into your stormwater facility with the stormwater runoff, and it just needs to be removed on a regular basis. So we will usually note remove the minor sediment / vegetation / debris, because when there's one, there's usually the others, especially in these rock areas or these riprap lined forebay areas. So the photos in this example are an inlet structure and riprap lined forebay area before and after cleaning. The contractors will typically move the rocks, shovel out the sediment, weeds, and debris, and then replace the clean rocks back into the forebay area. So that after picture is the end result that we're looking for with the clean rocks. There are usually types of geotextile fabric underneath of the rocks and forebays like this one. So your contractor will need to be careful not to damage that while performing maintenance. We went over the landscape plan earlier in this presentation. We check the facilities with required vegetation, make sure that the vegetation is being maintained according to the plans, that all plants are in place, that the grass is being maintained at the correct height. So make sure your contractors have a copy of the landscape plan so they understand what needs to be done with the vegetation. We also look for signs of unwanted vegetation, weeds or invasive vegetation, woody vegetation, young trees. These all need to be treated with an appropriate herbicide and then cut and removed from the site. This is something that should be kept up with on a routine basis. Weeds, especially invasive weeds, they can get out of control pretty easily. And when they become really dense, they can get pretty expensive to take care of. And it's really difficult to get them back under control again. So please make sure that your contractors are following up with the routine weed removal. In Delaware, it is required to have a special license to apply aquatic herbicides. So if you see that noted in your report, make sure you hire a contractor who is able to take care of that. We do get a lot of questions about herbicides and how safe they are to use, how safe are they for the natural environment. But as long as they're used appropriately and according to the manufacturer's specifications, they are deemed as safe. So if you have any specific questions about the types of herbicides to use for the weeds you may be experiencing at your facility, I recommend that you reach out to a contractor who has their aquatic herbicide license. Growing vegetative buffers around the pond can be very beneficial in a lot of ways. Even if having a buffer is not a requirement at your pond, it's still a great idea to consider establishing one. They can help reduce the sediment that washes into a pond. They reduce erosion. They reduce the amount of nutrients that go into the pond, which can in turn reduce algae and other aquatic vegetation. And they also help deter geese. The geese like to have a clear path to get in and out of the pond. So growing a vegetative buffer will make the pond less desirable to them. If you do decide to establish a buffer around your pond, please make sure to maintain them to be free of invasive and woody vegetation. We usually recommend to mow them 1 to 2 times per year in the early spring and the late fall to help control that. Also, make sure you're maintaining access paths to each structure at your pond. That's each inlet, outlet, outfall, emergency spillway. Make sure you're still cutting those access paths through the buffer so that we can complete our inspections. Getting into the different types of stormwater facilities that you'll commonly see in Newcastle County. Wet ponds or retention basins are ponds that have a permanent level of water in them at all times. The as-built plans for your facility will tell you what the normal level is for the water to be at. If the water level is too high or too low for an extended period of time, then most likely there's some type of blockage or a leak, something that we need to look into further. Make sure you're cleaning out the low flow structure on your outlet on a routine basis, and that will help keep the water level at the normal level. Dry ponds or detention basins are basins that are designed to fill up with stormwater during the rain, and they release the water slowly. They should be completely drained within 48 hours after the rain has stopped. Again, make sure you're checking your low flow devices to make sure that the water can drain properly. It is fine to let the grass vegetation within these basins grow a little taller. as long as access is maintained to each facility, to each structure in the facility, and as long as the facility is maintained to be free of invasive and woody vegetation. Infiltration basins are basins that are designed to have water infiltrate into the ground. Sometimes they will have outlets or overflow structures, but the majority of the water should infiltrate in these basins. Sometimes they will have vegetation along the bottom. Sometimes they will have media such as stone or sand. They should be completely drained within 48 hours after the rain, like dry ponds. One thing I want to emphasize is that heavy equipment should never enter into an infiltration basin, and that includes push mowers. Any vegetation must be trimmed by hand, like with a weed whacker. Any heavy equipment going into these basins could compact the soil or the media along the bottom, and that could affect the infiltration rate of the stormwater. So it's very important that your contractors are aware of this requirement. Biofiltration swales are essentially drainage ditches that are lined with specific types of grass and herbaceous vegetation. Usually there will be height requirements within bioswales. It is important to let the grass or vegetation grow taller in these areas to slow down the flow of water and prevent erosion and also assist with infiltration. Specific height requirements will be noted on your approved landscape plan. Please make sure your mowers and your hired contractors are aware of the height requirements and the boundaries of these stormwater management areas. A problem that we commonly see is that mowers will mow the surrounding areas short, and they want to keep going right through the stormwater management areas and mow them flush with everything else. So please make sure your mowers and contractors are aware of the boundaries of those areas. Some people will opt to install signs as a reminder, but ultimately it is up to the property owner to make sure that your hired contractors are following the rules with those areas. Grass filter strips will usually have a height requirement, a lot like bioswales. They usually should be maintained at 6 inches or taller, but specific height requirements will be listed on your approved plans. Filter strips are designed as an initial treatment. They receive that first flush of stormwater that runs off of a paved surface. They're designed to slow down and spread out that flow of water. Sometimes there will be a stone level spreader or stone diaphragm that's designed to help trap sediment and debris as it washes off of the paved surface. And those areas just need to be cleaned out on a routine basis, just like with the forebay areas. Constructed wetlands are man-made areas designed to mimic natural wetlands. They're really great at filtering out pollutants. They're great for our natural ecosystem as well. There will be very specific plantings that are required to be in place within a constructed wetland, and they require very specific maintenance to help maintain those plants and to help keep these facilities free of invasive vegetation. It is very difficult to keep the invasive vegetation down at these facilities. Typical maintenance for a constructed wetland may be a little out of the wheelhouse for most landscapers, so please keep that in mind when you hire a contractor to maintain a constructed wetland. They should be very familiar with how to maintain these specific types of facilities, and they should also refer to the approved landscape plans and as-built plans for specific maintenance instructions. Bioretentions or rain gardens are basins, usually smaller basins, designed to have specific types of plants and shrubs installed with them that assist with infiltration. They usually will have mulch installed, not always, but usually the mulch helps to maintain the plants, maintain the moisture level in the facilities, and prevent erosion. These basins should be drained within 48 hours after the rain. We do have a few green roofs at some of our commercial sites in Newcastle County. Green roofs are a vegetated area over top of a watertight seal on top of your roof. They are great at reducing stormwater runoff, and they can help reduce your energy bill too by providing extra insulation for the building that they're on. There are two types, extensive and intensive. The extensive green roofs are more of a shallow system. They're good for lighter plants such as grass and moss. The intensive green roofs are a deeper system that are more suitable for heavy plants such as trees and shrubs. Because that's a heavier system, they do require stronger structural supports. There are specific inspection and maintenance requirements for these green roofs. Carolyn Magnotti will get into that in more depth a little later in our presentation. If you notice any leaks or cracks, it is imperative that you contact us right away. However, if these facilities are installed and maintained according to the approved design plan, they do tend to be pretty durable, and they are said to usually outlast traditional roofs. Porous pavement and permeable pavers allow stormwater to drain through them instead of running off as with normal asphalt or pavement. There usually will be an inspection port that leads to an underdrain system. We will check those ports and the surface for sediment buildup during our inspections. We also check for signs of oil or petroleum products, any trash or debris, and general wear and tear of the surface. Specific maintenance instructions, including how to clean and how often, will be noted on the approved plans. Inlet inserts are a type of filter bag or cartridge that sits inside of a catch basin drain. They are designed to trap and filter out dirt and debris, and they just need to be cleaned out on a routine basis. So in the photos here, we have an example of what one looks like before and after cleaning. Typical modular sand filters are usually found in parking lots. There will be two sides of chambers. Water chambers or wet chambers, that's the side with the slotted grates for water to flow into, and the sand chambers are the side with the solid grate. So water flows into the water chambers, fills up, and then flows through weir openings on the inside into the sand chambers. And water then filters through the sand and drains through a pipe installed along the bottom. So the photos on the bottom here, we have an example of what the inside of the water chambers and sand chambers look like when they're in need of cleaning. You can see that sediment, leaves, and debris is building up, so they would need to be cleaned out at that time. On the right-hand side, that picture was forwarded to me by the contractor after cleaning. So that's an example of what a sand filter looks like in good condition with the sediment cleaned out and the clean stand installed in that right-hand side. It is important to hire a contractor for sand filter maintenance who is familiar with working on these types of facilities. There are specific layers of fabric, gravel, and sand that are supposed to be installed a certain way, usually within these sand filters. The pictures in this example, the contractor did not have the layers installed properly, and they added too much sand, and that caused the sand to spill back through the weir openings into the water chambers. So please make sure your hired contractor is familiar with how to maintain these facilities and that they have a copy of the approved plan so they can see how the sand filter media is supposed to be installed. Also, the diagram on the right is from DNREC standards and specifications that shows the typical sand filter detail. So that's another document you can refer to for the sand filter specifications. Texas sand filters are above ground basins that will have sand or gravel media on one half, and there will be a grass or natural area on the other half, usually separated by a gabion wall or a rock dam. They function similar to the modular sand filters. They're just above the ground. Please refer to the approved plans for your site for specific maintenance instructions. Underground facilities are a type of storage tank or chambers underneath of the ground. They're usually found in parking lots, but sometimes they can be in a grassed area as well. During our inspections, there will be manholes or inspection ports that we open to check for sediment buildup. So in this example, we have a picture of what the StormTech system looks like as it's being installed. A StormTech system is a common type of underground stormwater system that you will see at commercial sites in Newcastle County. So these series of chambers are installed over layers of fabric and gravel. An area will be backfilled and a parking lot installed on top. So if you have a storm tech system at your site, this is an example of what it looks like under the ground. Because of how these facilities are installed and designed, it's not possible for us to inspect every aspect of the facility during our annual inspections. Bernadette briefly touched on this during her presentation. Because of that, we do require for special inspection and maintenance logs to be submitted for these facilities, and Carolyn Magnotti will explain that more in depth during her portion of our presentation. So that is it for my portion. Thank you for your time and attention. I know this is a lot of information to go through, but we do appreciate you taking the time to learn more about stormwater management with us today. I believe I am passing it along to Sydney from DNREC from here.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, can everyone see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you to Newcastle County for inviting us to share what we've been doing with our training and certification program over here. My name is Sydney Hall, and I'm an environmental scientist with the DNREC Sediment and Stormwater Program. And I oversee our program certification and training opportunities. So today we'll be talking about a course we launched earlier this year, the Permanent Stormwater Facility Maintenance course. So why do we need stormwater management? It's been talked about a lot today, but stormwater management is an important part of keeping our environment healthy, where it is mostly concerned with reducing pollution. This is a requirement of state, federal, and municipal clean water regulations. Polluted runoff is one of the greatest threats to clean water in our country. So erosion control is a secondary factor of some of the stormwater facilities and helps fulfill land disturbance requirements. And poor BMP performance or failure is preventable with frequent, sensible maintenance practices. From residential to industrial to state entities, everyone needs knowledge of stormwater BMP maintenance requirements to prevent costly corrective maintenance, avoid pollution, and hefty fines. So the Sediment and Stormwater Program has developed a 1-hour course on permanent stormwater facilities and how to maintain their structure and integrity throughout their lifetime. This course is hosted on the Delaware Learning Center, similar to our other courses on the platform, the Contractor Training Program and Certified Construction Reviewer course, which some of you may be familiar with. And the Permanent Stormwater Facility Maintenance course is currently offered in English and Spanish. So our main goals for the course were for participants to complete the course and be able to, 1, explain the importance of stormwater facility maintenance management, 2, describe the guidance documents and high-level maintenance requirements, and 3, comply with the maintenance requirements of Delaware BMPs. And in the course, if you take it, you will encounter knowledge checks throughout the course to test what you've learned so far, but there's no quiz at the end, no test, so you don't have to worry about that. And the program will not offer a specific certification for the course at the moment, but the Delaware Learning Center generates a certification of completion that can be accessed through the completed transcript in your account for your records if you need to share it with your employer. And the cost of the course will be $5. So the course provides an overview of the Sediment and Stormwater Program's 3 guidance documents, the first being the standard guidelines for operation and maintenance of stormwater BMPs, which covers routine maintenance tasks and frequency tables. Next, we have the Delaware Post-Construction Stormwater BMP Standards and Specification, which reviews maintenance criteria, design guidance, excuse me, and construction methods. And lastly, the Delaware Erosion and Sediment Control Handbook, which contains erosion and sediment control standard details. Soil stabilization practices will often be required as part of BMP maintenance, so that is also discussed in the course. And participants are encouraged to explore the additional resources provided throughout the course. So what's exactly covered? We provide real examples of operation and maintenance plans used in Delaware with specific callouts for participants to understand what they may be looking for on site. The course highlights the importance of vegetation, covers how to review BMPs, and how to complete inspections. So the course concentrates on more common best management practices, diving into the specifics for bioretention, sheet flow, bioswales, wet and dry ponds, infiltration practices, and underground systems. And for each BMP, the course covers a maintenance overview, criteria and frequency, and the checklist. A brief high-level overview is provided for BMPs on the right side of the screen that you will not encounter on site as often, such as vegetative roofs, rainwater harvesting, or constructed wetlands. Oftentimes, BMP maintenance is not a financial priority and doesn't occur annually as it should. The course offers two interactive scenarios for a routine maintenance example and a non-routine maintenance example. This course provides insight to different levels of BMP maintenance you might encounter on site and how to address the issues you'll find. So some BMPs you see will require plan submittals and full corrective action. The long-term goal of conducting annual maintenance is to avoid situations like these. The picture on the left shows a bioretention that flows into a dry pond. The observation ports are cracked and need repair, but overall the BMP is in good condition and still works. The picture on the right was taken in August 2023, and the subcontractors have just finished repairing the severe erosion and replacing the pipes around the outlet structure last fall, and it looks much better now. So once you're in the course, you can access additional resources like I mentioned, including a job aid. The job aid is meant to provide on-site maintenance guidance for more common BMPs. So reminders to stabilize, manage vegetation, remove sedimentation, when to contact DNREC or delegate agency, and more. This is also available on our training and certification webpage in English, but we also offer it in Spanish within the Spanish version of the course. This is meant to be downloaded, printed, or viewed on a mobile device to be used in the field if you need a reminder. So as we just discussed, there are certain scenarios that can't be remediated with the maintenance team. So for any non-routine maintenance activities, the delegated agency or DNREC must be informed before any action is taken. The program continues to delegate implementation authority to 8 state and local plan approval agencies. DelDOT handles all transportation construction projects. All other state and federal projects, as well as remediation projects without development, are overseen by DNREC. For example, our program oversees schools, state parks, police, public health, and any other state-run facilities for their projects. Newcastle County Department of Land Use oversees all unincorporated areas of the county compared to Newcastle Conservation District, which has jurisdiction over incorporated areas other than Newark, Middletown, and Wilmington, they all have their own agencies. Kent Conservation District oversees Kent County, and Sussex Conservation District has jurisdiction over Sussex. But please be aware that depending on where you're working, the delegate agency will vary. And lastly, please contact us at our listed number or emails at denrec.stormwater@delaware.gov with any questions about our trainings or getting access to the Delaware Learning Center. You can scan the QR code now, and it'll take you directly to our training and certification page. You'll be able to find info on all of our trainings, current certification holders, information on how to create a Delaware Learning Center account, and any of our contact information. And I want to say thank you again to Newcastle County for letting us share what we've been doing lately. If anyone has any questions, I guess we're saving those till the end, but I think I'm passing it off to Carolyn.
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much, Sydney. And if you stop sharing,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Again, my name is Carolyn Magnotti. I am one of the environmental program manager ones here with the Department of Public Works. And as Julie alluded to, I am going to just talk to you a little bit this morning about the underground and inspection logs. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Good, awesome. Okay, so again, we're going to talk a little bit this morning. I'll be rounding out the session with talking about underground and green roof logs. And this is really only applicable if you have one of these particular type systems. Basically, subsurface or underground facilities, as you've already heard, are certain types of facilities which can include inlets, they can include urban sand filters, rain tanks, storm tech facilities. They are basically underground or subsurface facilities. They are facilities that cannot be inspected entirely from the surface, so please keep that in mind. In 2011, the Department of Public Works had about 45 facilities in its inventory, where now we're up at over 300 subsurface or underground facilities. The use of underground stormwater runoff collection systems has become more widespread as development trends increase towards containing and managing runoff in a way that takes up less space, pretty much. In addition to subsurface stormwater management facilities, Newcastle County has also had an increase in the installation of green roof systems. Julie talked about both of these particular systems. Green roof collection systems are being utilized where space constraints limit the use of traditional stormwater management practices. So they have a much smaller print and take up less space. And as Julie mentioned, they can also reduce building energy usage and they can reduce noise levels. So they've been found to be a good alternative. Underground and green roof facilities are to be maintained in accordance with your manufacturer or design engineer's recommendations. The maintenance recommendations, you've heard this term a few times now, operations and maintenance plan. It's either going to be on your as-built, there might be a separate document. Somewhere you're going to have a specific plan for how you're supposed to maintain that facility. The schedule will be noted again on either the as-built plan or in a separate document. Following the maintenance plan and schedule ensures that your facility is in good order and functioning per the design. Proper stormwater management assists with prevention of area flooding and therefore ensuring that the facility is being inspected and maintaining according to plan is in everyone's best interest, right? And due to limited access, Newcastle County is unable to inspect underground facilities to the extent that's listed on your operations and maintenance plan. So therefore, we recommend that you hire a specialist, someone who is educated, trained, and has experience in working with these particular types of facilities. And should these facilities require entry, you have to go according to your OSHA regulations and use confined space entry. Those rules have to be adhered to. Keep in mind that we ask that a minimum of 2 to 4 inspections or the number as listed on your operations and maintenance plans be performed each year. To ensure that underground and green roof facilities are being properly inspected and maintained, Newcastle County has particular ordinances. Those ordinances state that a log which is obtainable by or from the department is to be maintained and submitted once a year with at least that 2 inspections, or again, the number that's mentioned on your particular operation and maintenance plan. Here you'll have a sample of what the underground inspection maintenance log looks like. Please note that we require both pages for the log submission to be considered complete. It has to be signed. We ask that you list the name of your facility as listed on the inspection report. Sometimes we have a little trouble identifying which facility it relates to when you utilize, just restaurant or whatever the name of your establishment is. We ask that you use the name listed on your inspection report. And again, you're going to have that second page completed by your contractor, someone who is educated and has the expertise to work on these particular type of facilities. And they are going to sign it and date it and indicate any completed work that they did as well. So again, underground facility logs. Let's talk about the logs just a little bit. We're going to ask that you indicate the date that you completed the inspection or that the maintenance was completed. You're going to note any deficiencies or necessary repairs that were found during the inspection. And sometimes we get inspections from a particular engineer, but it doesn't necessarily show that the follow-up maintenance was done. And so we're asking that you not only get it inspected, but that you complete the necessary recommended maintenance. So you're going to list that maintenance on the inspection report. You're going to list your contractor's information, and then you're also going to have the property owner representative sign that as well as the contractor. You're going to also please attach before and after photos. That's very important. That lets us know that the maintenance of the facility was reviewed. And so you're going to attach before and after photos once the maintenance is completed, and you're going to submit that log no later than January 31st. Of the following year. So for example, the 2025 logs are now due January 31st, 2026. Here's an example of our green roof log. Again, we don't have many of these in Newcastle County, but we do require that a log be maintained, showing that you have done your due diligence to inspect the facility, make sure it's maintained in proper order. Julie mentioned things like you don't want it leaking. Again, this is in everyone's best interest for you to go through and submit this information so that you know that this facility is being properly maintained. It should be inspected at the frequency listed on your operations and maintenance plan. You should have a qualified professional doing this work. The use of herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, fertilizers should be avoided. And again, photos of the completed maintenance attached to the log. And this log is also due by January 31st. And with that, I just want to say thank you for attending today, and I'm going to turn this back over to our host, Mike Harris.
Thank you, Carolyn. I guess we're at our question and answer period. If anybody has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We've got a pretty small group attending, so we have lots of time for answering your questions if you have any. Or you can go to the Q&A section if you feel more comfortable typing your questions. Any takers? I'm not seeing anybody raising their hand at this point. Looks like we don't have any questions. You can always feel free to reach out to any of us. You have our contact information if anything came up. We hope you got some good information out of today's seminar. We appreciate all the speakers. Thanks to all of our staff, and thanks to DNREC, Sydney for being here, and for Sara from DelDOT for the valuable information. We hope you have a great holiday season. I guess I will close the session now. Again, the recording will be on our website within a few days. And we wish you all a great rest of the day. Thanks.